Welcome to the Nightly Rant
with
your hosts, Mike
and Torya.
This is the show where we examine society from a sarcastic point of view.
If you like insane conversations, this is definitely the show for you.
Let's get into today's topic. YPN people, I don't know about you, but I love helping out a friend. That's why I want to shout out my friend Brian Little and his podcast, Your Favorite Blockhead. This is the only show that manages to weave together peanuts and MMA into one heck of an amazing podcast. You can find Your Favorite Blockhead wherever your favorite podcasts reside and at yourfavoriteblockhead.com. Do me a huge favor and listen to Brian's show. You'll be entertained and you'll help out a friend. Now, as I said, let's get into today's topic. Here we are on basically day 2 of a complete statewide lockdown.
We're stuck in our freaking house. And you know what's weird? I don't leave the house very often in the first place. I work from home. I live here. I like to hang out here. I leave the house to walk the dogs and go grocery shopping. The things you're still allowed to do. And it's horrifying how confined I feel to the house right this minute.
I was just going to say, isn't it weird? Isn't it weird that I kind of agree with you on that? I mean, I leave and do more than you do, but I kind of agree with you on that. And you would think that that would kind of make us feel kind of like, oh, well, about this. But I feel confined, and yet I say to myself, I'm able to do the things other people aren't allowed to do.
Right.
All of my normal things. So, I don't know, but it's just, there's just this panic going on.
I know, and it's uncomfortable because everybody's super anxious and super freaking out and standing in line for 4.5 hours at Costco to buy some toilet paper that's not there. I can't. People are all freaking panicked and freaking hectic, and the panic buyers in the very beginning made more panic buyers, which created more panic buyers because, the people who bought 73 flats of toilet paper and made it so normal people couldn't get their toilet paper that they just regularly need caused this mass panic of people trying to buy toilet paper because they think they're not going to be able to wipe their asses anymore.
So, you're right.
In case you wondered how I really feel.
Absolutely right. And I'm not even going to say anything else because you said it all.
Thank you.
So let's just talk about how we moved recently.
No, I had one more thing. At the end of 2019, people were all like, yeah, we want it to be the roaring 20s again. Is anybody familiar with the plague that went around in the decade of 1920, whatever?
And
you got what you fucking asked for, people.
And the recession.
Yeah. Well, that was more in the end of the decade, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, way to go, people asking for the past to come back. Aren't you supposed to take history classes and learn from the past?
Apparently not.
Apparently not. Okay, now you can talk about it.
So, we moved.
Did we?
Yeah.
Is that why my body hurts?
It was a pain.
Literally.
But
and figuratively.
I'm really surprised at us. I am just going to be honest that it's not even been a week. And I think we're almost done unpacking.
I think one solid weekend of effort and we'll be completely done.
I'm shocked because we usually procrastinate.
I mean, if the biggest thing we have left to do is do all this laundry that kind of just got hoarded into a bag.
Yeah. But we moved, and I'm not going to say where, but I like it here. It's comfortable. It's different. It still feels kind of weird. It's weird because it feels comfortable in some ways, and it feels awkward and unusual in other ways.
Right.
And I think that the inside of the place is becoming more comfortable and normal, and it's the outside of the place that's unusual and odd. And that, if you think about it, that makes sense because we don't walk the dogs the same way we've always walked the dogs. We have to walk them a different way. And so we're having to do all this new stuff that we weren't used to doing. And I think that's one of the reasons why, the last day when we were moving stuff over from the old place, Yogi was barking because he feels out of place here still.
Yeah. He's figuring it out.
And he's very much a creature of habit, just like this one. But she's very flexible and right away boom, boom. I have my spots to go to the bathroom. I'm done in 30 seconds, and then I can walk and enjoy myself. The other guy is like sniff, 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 sniff everywhere.
Your dog?
And sometimes he poops like in 2 seconds, and sometimes it takes him 25 minutes.
Your dog is currently doing something bad.
Probably. But what that means is we finally got out of the place that used to be such a nice place.
And then it turned into a raging crowd.
And then it turned into hell.
Yep. It wasn't great. Mm-mm.
And like, I'm surprised after seeing how this place was put back together.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't get me wrong. I've seen lots of things I could criticize about how it was done. The glazing that got up onto the sink from the counter. You know, little stuff like that. But the point is, everything works.
You know, you moved into the other place about 3 months before I moved here. 2 months before I moved
Yes.
here. No. All of October, all of November, all of December. 3 months before I moved here.
Yeah.
Okay. You lived there for 3 months. And then for the first 2 months that I lived with you, I didn't really go through anything. I kind of just was.
Yeah.
Because you had everything set up. And then I remember, like, there was a point where I wanted to, like, rearrange all of the drawers in the kitchen because they were annoying and they were dirty. So I pulled them out and I was, like, cleaning them. And I found other people's trash behind the drawers in the kitchen.
Interesting.
And it wasn't, like, gross trash. It was just, like, the back from a box of candles.
Yeah.
But not candles you ever would have bought.
Right.
And stuff like that. And it's like, really? You didn't even pull out the drawers and clean up the trash from behind them?
And yet they charge people to clean.
Right. Right. But here, everything was clean. There was nothing that's dirty. It's live-in ready.
Yeah, and like I said, the only things I can find are super teeny tiny, so who cares? They're of no consequence. Like, that's the thing. And like, I also think what was super ethical about here was they charged us each for a credit check, and then when we passed their credit check and accepted the apartment, they took that money out of our move-in cost.
Right. That's awesome.
Nobody I've ever seen has done that.
Right.
And that they don't advertise that either, by the way.
No, they didn't tell us they were going to do that. I saw that when they were sending us the breakdown, and I was like, oh, what a nice gesture. And it's not exactly a huge gesture. I mean, it's $100.
Yeah, but it's, how to put it? It's a pleasant surprise to be like,
exactly.
oh, look, it's $100 less than I thought. Why is that? Oh, they took off our credit checks off of there. If you think about it, they stand to make way more money having us as a tenant than that $100.
Well, exactly. And when I remember when we first came in here and we saw the place, we were a little bit concerned, but we were going to put our living room furniture, but it all worked out. I actually really like how we set this up. Like, a lot.
I do too.
In the other place, with the way we had to set it up, there wasn't enough room to recline the couches because the air conditioner would be blocked.
Well, yeah, and that's something that won't happen here at all.
You could recline 3 out of the 4 total recliners.
Yeah, now you can get maximum use out of those.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing.
I can sit wherever the hell I want.
And I think the layout of this is going to be more beneficial with having an extra body in here for a while.
Yeah.
I'm a little worried that this place is so corporate that they're going to zone in on the fact that she's here.
Well, what's going to happen is she was coming for a visit for a week, and then she got quarantined here.
Yeah.
And if they make us add her to the lease, they make us add her to the lease. They're not going to make us pay any more deposit. They'll make us pay a $50 application fee and add her to the lease. It is what it is.
Yeah, I guess. It just bugs me. I don't know. But whatever.
But maybe what we should do is at the 7-day mark be like, yo, she was here for a visit, and now she can't leave.
Yeah.
Like she's stuck here.
Yeah. Well, I think that it's sad because what we're doing is we're just literally shutting off our economy completely, worldwide. Now, that would mean theoretically, if you think about it, yeah, the car dealer isn't going to sell cars because people aren't buying something luxurious like a car, but the car dealer also doesn't have to buy the cars from his distributor because his distributor's not going to have them because not enough people are buying cars, etc., all the way back to the beginning. So the only person who really gets hurt is the person who has the initial raw materials. They're the one, the little guy is the one that gets hurt. Other guys don't get hurt.
Yeah.
Look on your faces. Okay, good. I was like, look on your face. I was like, you're nuts.
No, sorry. I got a message and that person is nuts.
And I think, I think that that's just how it is. You can't escape that.
Well, yeah, I agree.
People think that you can, and it's like, it's frustrating to deal with. And that's why I keep saying, if everybody would stop trying to jostle for a better position in this situation, and they all just started cooperating with one another, there's enough work out here for everybody to do just fine.
I think if the government plays this correctly, though, like the money from the federal government and the protections that some counties are putting on renters and mortgages being postponed and that kind of stuff, I think if it's played correctly and people don't get too far behind, that the economy will pick almost off where it left off.
Yeah, it'll be like a little tiny glitch.
But the harder people are hit financially, the worse this is going to be for everyone.
Yeah, because then it's a big dip, not just a little glitch.
If people have to start taking out loans to pay their rent, if people have to start deferring their mortgage payments or missing their mortgage payments.
Well, yeah, and stuff like that is really difficult. Like if you take a loan out for a recurring payment,
yeah,
it gets difficult because, you're paying your rent with money borrowed from somebody else. And so now when you pay rent next time, you're actually paying 2 months rent, and you keep doing that every single month.
Right.
And so you just increased your expenses like by a lot. And that's not what anybody wants to do. None of us wants to do that.
So it's going to hurt people. But it sounds like the government is doing what they should be doing. And they're injecting money where they should. And they're kind of... I don't mean the California government. They're being a bunch of buttheads. But I mean the federal government is being appropriate for the panic that they've caused. I mean, they caused the panic. They should be solving the problem, right?
Well, but should they?
They shouldn't have caused the panic in the first place. Let's be real.
Yes, but is it really government's job to fix a problem like this, or is it our job to fix the problem?
It's certainly our job to fix the problem, but in this case, with the way that the government runs right now, it's their job. I get your libertarianness over there. I totally get it. Just seems like it would work better if, hey, you, me, we're together on it because it's our life. Okay. Uh-huh. And then, we're going to pull Mitchell in. And I'm sorry, but, somewhere along the way, his mom is going to be kind of attached there because no matter what you do, you have that connection because of kids. Right. Uh-huh. And so, that's how that is. But there's this family connection there. The other way, it's there's a connection, but it's not like a family connection. It can be you can cut it and be peace out. I don't want anything to do with it. That's really tough to do with family. You can do it with acquaintances and some friends, but family, that's just really tough to just snip and walk away. And what exactly does that have to do with the government helping?
Because I think we should all help each other and forget about the government. But
nobody's willing to do that because everybody's in the same shit on boat.
But that's the problem, is that the government's intervening, so everybody has to kind of turn and pay the government. And then you have to trust that the government is going to take your money and spend it the way that benefits you and your family. And we've talked about this before. If everybody did what was best for them and their family, there'd be smaller pockets of belief systems because there'd only be 60 of us that think this way, rather than us being in a larger, more general group. We'd be in a more specific group. And the problems would just fix themselves because a certain percentage of society would be generating revenue this way. So if there was a problem in that part of the economy, someone else could generate revenue in a different way. And that's how you work together. But when you just give the money to your government, how do you trust that what they decide to spend it on is the right thing?
The way the system works right now, you don't get to decide that.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's the problem.
But so you have to change that before you want to change one simple thing.
Who says there's only one simple thing that needs to be changed? There's a hell of a lot
You're
of
talking
things
about one thing.
in this instance because it's a specific aspect of the topic we're talking about.
Duh.
Well, you're confusing because you're saying you don't understand how it's related. And then when I say, well, it's part of the topic, you're like, duh. Well, that's how it's related. It's part of the topic. Make sense?
Okay.
So that's how it's related.
Got it.
That is how it's related.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a little more, I don't know, different approach to coming to a similar conclusion.
We were supposed to talk about the place we moved from and how much we hated, and we somehow got back into pandemic land.
How did we do that?
I have absolutely no idea.
So tell us something about the old place that you just can't live without, or actually, honestly,
There's nothing
wants
I
to
can't
live
live
without.
without.
So tell
I
me,
would
what?
like to live without the bugs,
Bugs,
our rat friend from the ceiling,
the rat,
the cocksucking asshole neighbors,
the asshole neighbors. There's some that were nice.
the
Don't get that wrong. There's lots that were nice.
gardeners that like to sandblast all of the cars in the parking lot every Friday, the gardeners that like to lay on the ground and pick up rocks, the psychopathic maintenance man who thought he should just water the plants to death instead of just letting them die on their own. And so the water bill went skyrocketing through the roof, and then they argued with us about how they didn't actually raise the water bill at all, but really it had gone up by like $17 a month because some asshat kept watering the plants non-freaking stop. And they still looked like dog shit, by the way. The plants got no nicer. They just got all overgrown and stupid looking. And the dog shit everywhere that nobody picked up. And the asinine thought that taking away a fucking trash can is going to stop people from putting their trash where the trash can was is just, I can't. And the inconsistency and the jackassery and the lack of ability to fix anything and the mailbox break-ins and just, I don't like that place, okay? He's laughing away at me over there.
God.
I just watch him, and you can hear him laughing now. But like 30 seconds ago, he was a human earthquake, just like jiggling away, laughing.
You guys, do you hear how passionate she is about what she didn't like about that place? Like, I'm no offense, but when have you ever heard her rant for that long about that many topics? Think about that. That's a record. You've never done that. That's amazing. So I think you care about this topic just a tiny bit, would you say?
The one thing I did like about that building was maybe 5 select people, but I can live without them.
Well, you know what? It is true. It's kind of sad. But in our society today, we don't really make those connections to people that make an impact on you that you remember them 10 years from now.
Oh, I remember Trash Bag Basketball Man 10 years from now.
Well, but in the most part, you don't make those kind of connections with people anymore. And so you're right. You kind of, while you really enjoy them and you like them and you'd like to talk to them again and you miss talking to them, you're kind of like, well, maybe I'll try to make a friend right here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I've noticed the people here, and I don't know if it's just because of the stuff going on or not, but the people here aren't as friendly outside. They're not unfriendly, but they're not as friendly.
But they say hello.
Sometimes.
But there's also no, like, gathering.
Yeah,
place.
but that could be because of this current health situation. That really could, because, I mean, if you notice, they did close all of the common areas.
Well, we didn't, like, make friends with people until we started going to the barbecue pit all the time.
Yeah.
There isn't really a barbecue pit here. There's those funky barbecues that I don't understand how to work.
Charcoal, my man. Charcoal.
I'm not buying charcoal for a public barbecue.
How it works, my man.
Maybe in the summertime, though, maybe this building puts charcoal in those barbecues.
Possibly. Or they have some kind of like,
charcoal-esque thing.
Fake charcoal that's like a rock that, you light on, you put some fluid on and light it. They have that too.
I'm happy to buy lighter fluid, but I ain't buying any freaking charcoal. That shit's
Yeah.
messy.
Yeah. Well, and it's just another damn thing to store. And then you find the, quote, perfect spot for it. Then it rains and it's mush and you can't use it. So, it cost you like 20, what you thought was like, oh, I can get like 100 barbecues out of this for, $2. And you get one barbecue out of it for $2 and it's mush. So you waste money. I think it's interesting when you move from one place to another, though, like we said at the start of all of this. The inside, because we've spent so much time here, is beginning to become comfortable to me. Like, I know where light switches are and stuff like that,
It's still kind of freaking... We don't have all the lamps plugged into their proper sockets yet, so that's still kind of freaking me out.
Okay, fair enough. But, like, I know where to turn the lights on in the kitchen. I know where to turn the lights on for my office. I just know exactly what I need to do in that respect to get light upstairs. I mean... It didn't take long, but it's the outside, because that's where we developed like a pattern and like we would interact with other people there.
It'll happen.
It was just, that's what's missing here. And yeah, I keep telling myself, things right now in general in public aren't as the same as they were a week ago.
I mean, we made friends with that light lady in the line at Ralph's. She was nice.
Yes, she was. A little too much information. She shared a little too much information.
I didn't need to know her husband had a feeding tube.
And I didn't need to know that they go through a lot of paper towel because he has trouble with his mouth, and so he drools, and he uses paper towel to wipe up. I didn't need to know that. But
whatever. She was still nice.
She was a super nice lady. She was a super nice lady. And who cares? I actually have a lot of empathy for her because that's a tough situation.
She doesn't have to worry about buying him groceries in this crisis. Her words, by the way.
Right. And I admire her, though, for sticking it out with him and, going through the tough times. She could have bailed.
Right.
She could have been like, I didn't sign up for this.
Sounds like they've been married for a long time.
Yeah, it's just nice, to see that. I think, it's funny, we can close out with this, but I think that the church people, the one thing the church people have right, 100%, I don't think anyone could argue, is that if you're going to get married to somebody, you have to make it so that divorce isn't an option. Now, to my way of thinking, that's about as close to perfect as you could handle a marriage. If you're going to make that much of a commitment to somebody, you can't just be like, oh, you never, I don't like what you wear to bed and you won't change it, so I'm out of here. Peace out. Or
what a dumb reason.
Or I'm, so busy with work that, I basically get home here at like midnight and I leave again at 3 a.m. So it's just easier for me to just stay at my place. I don't need to come to this place. Well, that's dumb. You're not married if you're not living together. There's just dumb stuff like that you can throw out there.
Yeah.
Married people, kind of crap. I don't know. I've kind of lost my
You're on a tangent
ultimate
again.
train of thought right there. But you get what I'm saying. Just, we got to deal with things our way. What helps our family and friends out. That's what I'm tying it up.
But you're not.
That's what we're saying. I am, and I'm about to say. So, you guys just keep that in mind when your friends need help or you need help. Just keep that in mind. Everybody helps each other. We get through this. It's all good. And that's all I got to say. The dog is dead. I don't know where the other dog is. Apparently, he's doing something bad, according to you.
Well, I would have told you what he's actually doing, but I don't think you'd appreciate it.
No, I don't want that out there. So, yeah, I was kind of joking just now. In fact, I wasn't kind of. I was joking.
And on that kind of disgusting
So, yeah.
note, good night, everyone.
Hasta la bye-bye, Yogi. Thank you for listening to the Nightly Rant.
If you enjoyed the show, please give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts or Google Play.
If you didn't enjoy the show, please just ignore that previous request for a rating.
This has been a Yogi's Podcast Network production.